A major shift is happening quietly in the background of crypto, and it's coming from ETSI, one of the most powerful standards organizations in the world. In a groundbreaking April 2025 report, ETSI lays out how artificial intelligence and distributed ledger technology are merging to power next gen infrastructure. And here's the kicker, they're naming names. From Hedera to Ethereum, Ripple to Solana, Algorand to Avalanche, and more, ETSI has formally referenced multiple blockchain networks in a global standards document, and that has huge implications for adoption, compliance, and enterprise trust. I want to start, I guess, just a tiny bit of background on ETSI. More than 900 member organizations worldwide, drawn from over 60 countries and 5 continents. Members comprise of a diverse pool of large and small private companies, research entities, academia, government, and public organizations. You can go down through the list here. It's obviously quite extensive. Um, Put into some context here, they're considered one of the largest and most influential standards organizations in the world, particularly within the realm of telecom and information and communication technologies, or ICT. We already went through the global membership, 900 organizations. They specialize in developing standards for various ICT technologies, including fixed, mobile, radio, converged, broadcast, and internet technologies. The European Union recognizing ETSI as one of 3 European standards organizations, et cetera, et cetera. Found this document. And again, ETSI is the organization that creates technical standards for 5G, cybersecurity, digital identity, and more. When ETSI releases a detailed report on this is a huge report on artificial intelligence converging with distributed ledger technology systems or blockchain systems. It's not just another white paper, it's a blueprint that regulators, banks, telecoms, and institutional stakeholders actually follow. In this report titled Permission Distributed Ledger 032, ETSI focuses on how AI can be embedded into permissioned distributed ledger systems to improve automation, compliance, auditing, fraud detection, governance, even performance. But what makes this report a little bit different is ETSI isn't talking in theory here. They reference 10 plus specific networks as examples of innovation already happening in this space. So I want to break down the networks that are involved here and what ETSI is saying about each. Let me move my screen here. Let me start with Hedera. If I can find the last part here. Yeah. So this is regulatory compliance monitoring. Now, this is falling under subsection 10. Subsection 10 is governance and compliance utilizing artificial intelligence. Section 10.5, regulatory compliance monitoring, specifically diving deep into Hedera. This is example, the Hedera Hashgraph Council, and employs an AI system that monitors global regulatory changes and automatically generates compliance impact reports, reducing regulatory adaptation time by 60%. Hedera is a distributed ledger. There's a note here. Distributed ledger tech platform that aims to be a faster, more secure alternative to traditional blockchain systems created by computer scientist Lehman Baird based on the Hashgraph consensus algorithms. The Hedera Council, also known as the Governing Council, is the body responsible for overseeing the governance and strategic direction of the Hedera network. This is saying permission distributed ledger systems can implement AI-driven regulatory monitoring systems to ensure timely compliance with changing legal requirements. They get a standout mention here within it. You can also see Ripple. There's a lot in this document. AI-assisted governance rules and compliance checks enforcement. This is tying in machine learning as well. Smart contract governance. Algorand's up here. I'll get into Algorand here in a second. But this is getting into automated KYC and AML checks. Artificial intelligence can enhance know your customer and anti-money laundering processes by automated identity verification and transaction monitoring. The Ripple network uses, this is example 3, AI-driven KYC and AML tools that can process and verify user identities 50% faster than traditional methods while improving accuracy by 30%. Ripple's a real-time gross settlement system. This is the note, currency exchange, and remittance network created by Ripple Labs. It was launched in 2012 and designed to enable secure, instantly, and nearly free global financial transactions of any size with no chargebacks. Permission distributed ledger systems, again, can implement artificial intelligence powered smart contracts analysis tools to ensure compliance. Governance frameworks can incorporate AI. And they can, or they could consider implementing AI enhanced KYC and AML systems. This is pretty wild where a standards body like ETSI is like giving all sorts of examples about the convergence of artificial intelligence and distributed ledgers. So they're giving smart contract governance and Algorand. AI can analyze smart contracts to ensure they comply with predefined governance rules and regulatory requirements. The Algorand example, the Algorand blockchain uses AI-powered smart contract analysis tools to automatically verify the new contracts adhere to platform-specific governance rules and regulatory standards before deployment. They're giving a note on Algorand. They also cover Avalanche, AI-driven energy management system that reduces overall network energy consumption by up to 40%. They also cover Polkadot in here. I find this stuff pretty fascinating. I don't know that like you have gigantic standard setting, like global standard setting bodies, like just giving all sorts of real world examples for how technology is going to converge. The Polkadot network, they're giving an example, use an AI powered governance assistance that helps token holders understand complex proposals and predicts the potential impacts of their votes. Also within this, Solana, exploring AI models to manage congestion during high traffic. Ethereum was in here. Adaptive sharding, future scalability. Tezos was in here. Hyperledger Fabric and R3 Corda. I think that these are the only ones mentioned in here. Again, it's a 92-page document. You guys can go through this. But again, I do find it interesting when you see big global standard setting bodies, putting out documents like this that are just very, very, very in depth with all sorts of examples about how AI and distributed ledger technology are going to converge. I'm sure they'll get some kickback potentially on permissioned versus public ledgers, but I'm not going to get into semantics during this one. So this isn't the first time we've seen global standards bodies issuing comprehensive frameworks, but this is probably the first one that I've seen that is more of a comprehensive framework or proposed solutions under the context of artificial intelligence and DLT or distributed ledger technology, and explicitly connected these examples to real operational networks. So, you got to kind of wonder what are the corresponding relationships there. They call out some things. So there's obviously a knowledge base of some of these networks. I find it pretty interesting. It validates what many of us have been saying for years. Enterprise blockchain is not dead. Global adoption is coming. It's just been maturing quietly behind the scenes. With ETSI recognizing these technologies, we're entering a phase where crypto infrastructure is being adopted, not just for speculation, but for compliance, resilience, and automation. I want to move forward here, and that's the ETSI document. You guys can go to etsy.org and try to dig that one up. I just stumbled across it this morning. Webus signing up to, I think this came across over the past couple of days here, signing up to $300 million XRP treasury management agreement with top tier management. Samara Alpha making a major step in its XRP treasury strategy. This is Webus International Limited, a leading provider of, again, artificial intelligence-driven mobility solutions specializing in premium customizable chauffeur services worldwide, announcing the signing of a delegated digital asset management agreement with Samara Alpha Management LLC, top-tier registered SEC investment advisor. Automated mandate cap of up to $300 million. The strategic framework, as mentioned, is designed to provide Webus with institutional grade infrastructure and expertise for potential future digital asset treasury operations, specifically focused on XRP management. I stumbled across this document today as well. I don't know how much there is here. I haven't heard of this organization before, but I thought it was interesting giving some of the diagrams. This is carbon coded, redefining money, closing the climate gap in digital finance. They get into key features and capabilities. So carbon and ESG asset integration, zero trust security, two-tier CBDC or stablecoin architecture, AI-driven treasury, liquidity and wallet operations, real-time proof of reserve and auditability. This is under the hood is Hedera Stablecoin Studio, RPC relays and mirror nodes. They're also calling it, that's Hedera with mirror nodes. Chainlink oracles are integrated into the solution, delivering real-time verifiable proof of reserve data. We have seen a lot more crossover between Hedera and Chainlink recently over the past handful of months. Obviously, Chainlink, a governing council member or governing council member of Hedera as well in the Hedera Council. So I found this interesting. Integrated tech stack, potential use cases. Again, not sure how much is there. You can check out Carbon Coded at carboncoded.com if you want to dig a little bit deeper. I looked on their Twitter. Not a whole lot of stuff on there yet. Rise with Barclays, Hedera, Chainlink, Google Cloud, which is everybody. I mean, Google Cloud is really not like anything to get all excited about. Anybody can be a Google Cloud, like have Google Cloud up here. CBDC Studio and QXLI. Maybe I'll do some more digging into QXLI. I also found this. I found it a little bit interesting. I hadn't seen this before. This looks, what this looks like it is a presentation from Mike Cave at Hedera and Justin at the Hedera Foundation to, I'm going to mispronounce this, Finos or Finos. But it looks like a direct presentation to them, or like even like a pitch deck, which is interesting because you see the Finos logo up here. If you look at the members of Finos or Finos, Hedera's, I should have looked up how to pronounce it before this video. Hedera's in here under gold members, but look at some of the other members. You've got Citigroup, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, BlackRock was on here somewhere, Ant Group, Discover, DTCC. We see the crossover again. A lot of members. But, you know, I do find it interesting that they were giving kind of a, again, this is the convergence of artificial intelligence and distributed ledger. There's a lot on AI in here. It's a 50-page deck. I'm not going to go through the entire thing, certainly, but there's a lot in here. I did find one page interesting, and I think they were talking about some of the use cases. Yeah. Hedera in real life. So Aberdeen, 15 billion pound Lux Money Market Fund, Equity Lab for Climate GPT, Equity Lab and NVIDIA, I believe, as well, with some of the chips and stuff like that. Verifiable compute. So like there's tie-ins to like NVIDIA and stuff. Intel. Hyundai and Kia sustainability. They use Hedera's scalability or scalable energy efficient network for supplier CO2 emission monitoring systems. Karate Combat, so a retail focused use case, and then OneSpan for data integrity. I think I did a pretty deep dive into OneSpan a couple of years back. I can't remember exactly what it was on, but this is like tying in, I think, Canada. Their Trust Vault leveraging the Hedera blockchain to secure long-term integrity and authenticity of digital agreements, offering quantum safe protection and irrefutable origin dates. But again, I find it interesting more so about kind of who they're pitching to. There's kind of a lot of general stuff about blockchain in here, but then they also get kind of deeply into Hero as well, which is the open source code base transitioning over into Hero under Linux Foundation's LF decentralized trust. So literally the code base of Hedera is fully transitioning open source. Well, it's already open source, but fully transitioning into LF decentralized trust, for those of you guys that weren't aware. Also found this, and this is just random. Again, I know that the big point of this whole video was the ETSI document, but I guess I'll throw this one out there. This is a study done on the automated market maker based DEX on XRPL in comparison to generic DEXs on Ethereum. similar to Uniswap's V2 automated market maker implementation, and basically stating that XRPL's automated market maker DEX achieves superior price synchronization, reduced slippage, and improved returns due to XRPL's lower fees and shorter block times, with benefits amplified during market volatility. The integrated continuous auction mechanism further mitigates impermanent loss by redistributing arbitrage value to liquidity providers, all that stuff. Where I find it interesting, so there's a study here basically saying that the XRPL DEX, native DEX, is just more efficient than what's on Ethereum. But what I find interesting is the authors here. So you've got Paolo Tasca, you've got UCL, University College London, Nanyang Technological University, which I probably mispronounced, Exponential Science Foundation, which stems right out of the back end of Hedera, UK Center for Blockchain Technologies, and Ripple Labs. And then you've got Anshul Malhotra, who is Ripple X. I think you have another Ripple X individual in here. I think what I find interesting is I've done some videos before. Paolo is pretty much the head of Exponential Science and UCL's blockchain division, and tons of initiatives within the Hedera ecosystem. But I always see Paolo doing kind of crossover between XRPL and a lot of Hedera stuff as well. I ran it through ChatGPT, all these authors. There's a ton of individuals in here that kind of go both ways as far as both ecosystems. And a lot of these same individuals just did this document that is, again, also pretty recent, late last year, on shared custodial wallet for multi-asset crypto management. You can see Paolo up here again. This individual, who I'm going to mispronounce right there, doubled up. And then let me see if there's any other ones. No, those are the two. But this document talks about a shared multi-party computation wallet between XRPL and Hedera and Ethereum. And it talks about DREC, or the Decentralized Recovery Alliance. I covered this document maybe a couple of weeks ago as well, but just find it interesting that we're continuing to see some of the crossover. And then last but not least, I wanted to end here with Quincy. If you guys aren't aware of Quincy from XDC Foundation, I think he's like the leading developer advocate out of the ecosystem in XDC. He was putting out some crazy, like, truth bomby posts, more so about network impacts. I think that a lot of the time, and I've kind of had this mental shift a couple of years ago, probably too, where I believe that the value of the infrastructure of these networks is kind of like, more important than the value of like an underlying digital asset. I think that that's going to happen as a byproduct, not financial advice. But I think that when we start seeing like real world adoption of these networks, maybe it's not what people expect. And it's not like this, everything's going to flow through the native digital asset, but there is going to 1,000%, in my opinion, be like a cascade effect where, like, as these networks get real world adoption, as we start seeing trillions tokenized in some of the networks that they're tokenized on, I think you're going to see a carryover effect. So Quincy's saying, and give Quincy a follow at Coin Club Quincy, the trade volume from real world asset tokenization is the adoption. For every asset that is tokenized, each time it's traded contributes to the demand of the network. As its volume increases for the tokenized asset, the liquidity demanded from crypto as a form of payment to facilitate these transactions also increases. One of the arguments would be, okay, well, stable coins. And yes, certainly you're going to have a lot of flows going through stable coins, but I still believe that you're going to have a lot of kind of carryover effects into some of the native assets on these networks. So, but Quincy's saying, as the volume of RWAs, real world assets tokenized on these networks increases and the trading increases, the liquidity demanded from crypto or stable coins, I'll add in, as a form of payment to facilitate these transactions also increases, allowing for value appreciation to cover the liquidity demanded in the ecosystem to grow with more capital to work with. Continued feedback loop. He added some context to this thread, I think, at some point here. It might have been today. Let me see if I can find it. I have ideas. The key element, this TradFi, Web 2 between banks and brokers to operate and tokenize, on Web 3, the assets under management give Quincy a follow. The guy's consistently putting out amazing kind of content, and he's a great individual in general. But yeah, I mean, I certainly agree. I mean, I think that if you look at, I've showed that website RWA XYZ, RWA.xyz, and it doesn't even include all the networks. Literally a drop in the bucket right now. I think I did a video on and included that site like a year ago, and I think we were at like $6 or $7 billion of tokenized RWAs. It's probably like 25 or so now. And I think everybody knows the writing's on the wall. Like, you're starting to see very reserved individuals within these networks basically saying everything of value will be tokenized, and that shift from that what they're saying started probably mid to late last year. You've obviously got BlackRock and Larry Fink. You have everybody saying that they know everything's going to be tokenized. Even in this video here, you have people just migrating from decades in banking. And I think it was Mike, the guy from Hedera, saying, I had this light bulb moment. He was basically, in the financial crisis, the housing crisis that occurred, trying to keep things afloat through blood, sweat, and tears. And he's like, there's got to be a better way. And then moved over into this ecosystem. And in this document, they even go through some of the quotes with, the BlackRocks of the world. But we have a podcast tomorrow or Wednesday, if you guys are interested, out of Genfinity. So this is the XDC show that we help put together. This is an interview with Credify. I think Credify had mentioned, so XDC has a pretty big RWA accelerator with plug and play, and a bunch of like really big heavy hitting networks that included themselves into that accelerator, leveraging XDC network tech. I think Credify put out a tweet saying that something was coming over the next couple of days. Yeah, big surprise incoming. I don't know what this is. I don't know if they're going to mention anything about this on the podcast on Wednesday. It might just be more of a general podcast, working with something very special, and it's almost time to share it with you. This week, they're unveiling a major announcement connected to the accelerator program in collaboration with XDC Network and Plug and Play. We'll see if they mention anything, though. But if you guys wanted to check out that podcast, that is going to be on Wednesday. But again, to close out here, I always feel like I'm rusty doing these, so sorry if I was rambling. If you're watching crypto purely for charts or meme coins, you might miss the fact that governments and telecoms are building on real blockchain infrastructure, and naming names like Hedera, Ethereum, Ripple, Algorand, Avalanche, Polkadot, as some of the foundations here. And I'm sure I missed some in there, so apologies. This ETSI report it's very interesting. It's a game changer, not only because of how artificial intelligence and blockchain are about to converge, but how they're going to define the future of digital infrastructure. You can check out the full ETSI report and a breakdown of each project mentioned in the description. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. And if you like this content, like and subscribe. I will talk to you guys when I talk to you. Thanks. Bye.